Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we have an issue here where the U.S. has hundreds of Hondurans that head for the U.S. border in mass migration, and they march. This is in a report. Honduran migrant group treks north as U.S. calls for tighter borders. Honduran migrants trek north as U.S. calls for tighter borders. So it's out of the Voice of America, Reuters, and Fox News. Several stories on this. And they're coming. They're coming. And so you see the articles here. 16 hours ago, 19 hours ago, 14 hours ago. Okay? So let's look at what's going on here. Hundreds of Hondurans head for the U.S. border in mass migration march, reports. They're marching. This is by a Paulina. It's the last name correctly, so excuse me for that. Why are they in violence and are seen here in San Pedro Sula? They're headed toward the U.S. in hundreds and hundreds of people fleeing their country. Hundreds of Honduran migrants are headed for the U.S. border just days after Vice President Pence sat down with the Central American country's leader, urging him to at least 1,300 people, including young children, left San Pedro Sula in northern Honduras on Saturday. So in what some are calling the March of the Migrant, Reuters reported this. Bartolo Fuentes, the organizer, told the news agency that the group plans to march through Guatemala and into Mexico. From there, participants will request refugee status, which would allow them to stay in the country, or they will apply for a visa to pass through into the U.S. This is happening right now. A young man carries his child in the Hondurans caravan. The development came just days after Pence met with the Honduran president Juan Orlando Hernandez, President Jimmy Morales of Guatemala, and Vice President Oscar Ortiz of El Salvador, asking them to step up and help combat illegal immigration in return for help from the U.S. And this is what you're going to get. They unleashed hundreds of migrants who are headed nonstop, marching toward the U.S. border, ready to come in any moment. Pence addressed the three leaders on Thursday in Washington and at the Conference for Prosperity and Security in Central America. So if you do more, I'm here to say on behalf of the President of the United States and the American people, we'll do more, he said. Pence said that flows of illegal immigrants from Honduras and Guatemala are up 61% and 75% respectively. Well, Pence, what about the thousands that are headed here right now? So you see Pence in the very middle, okay? So at the left is Vice President Oscar Ortiz of El Salvador, and then comes Honduran President Juan Orlando Hernandez and Mexico's Foreign Secretary Luis Vidigare, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, and then in the very center, front and center, is Mike Pence, Secretary of Homeland Security. Christine Nielsen is to the right of Pence. And then you have, going on from there, Mexico Secretary of Government Alfonso Navarrete, and Guatemalan President Jimmy Morales on the very right, on the very end. They pose for the photos before the Second Conference of Prosperity and Security in Central America and at the State Department on Thursday. After that meeting, right after that meeting, talking about that issue, this is what we have here. They're coming. They are coming. According to Reuters reports, 64% of Honduran households live in poverty, and many of the migrants are fleeing a poor economy and some of the highest crime rates in the world. The highest crime rates in the world. So in all of these people that are headed here, some of these people are real families. They really are looking to get away from poverty and violence. But which one of these people might be the cause of some of the violence and poverty? We don't know, but I'm sure we shall see very soon, because they're on their way, nonstop. And so, the migrants are fleeing poor economy and some of the highest crime rates in the whole world. That says a lot. Hernandez told Pence that he would like more certainty about what to expect from the U.S. because the funds requested by Trump administration are below allocations from previous years. The Trump administration proposed $460 million in assistance last year, and 30% less than what Congress approved in 2016 under President Barack Obama. Mass migrations have become a growing problem at the border. So in May, almost 200 migrants from Central America attempted to seek asylum in the U.S. after traveling with a caravan. Over 1,000 migrants. Well, this is the article, and it concludes, but it's not over yet, because there are more people that are headed this way by the thousands, by the hundreds, and by the thousands. I believe it's not by the hundreds only. I believe it's by the thousands. But they say hundreds so that it can make people feel a little bit at ease, which it really shouldn't, because we don't know who all is coming here. We don't know the regular families, the working poor families, from the people who in the middle of this crowd could possibly be, the cause of some of this chaos. We don't know, because if people are leaving, there's a huge problem in these countries. And now it's the U.S. problem. And it's coming all over the U.S. They're coming. What do you think about this story? The problem doesn't get any better before it gets worse. I don't see this thing stopping no time soon. And so, like I said, there are problems here in the U.S., but there are definitely problems outside of the U.S. And now they're coming to the U.S. They're including all of the problems that are happening in these other countries. And now it is coming here. And now, after having that beautiful meeting, Mike Pence taking a photo, the question is, Mike Pence, what are you going to do about this crossing of the U.S. border with this new group here that is headed here any moment now? With that being said, thanks for listening.